Good morning, my fellow yogic travelers. I'm mighty glad to be alive today, and I hope that you are too, as we spend one more day honoring BKS Iyengar and his teachings so that we can live, laugh, love, learn, and linger and live the life we love. So, first, Mr. Iyengar represents the mythological and mystical teaching that says spirit is one. Just like a bee gathers nectar from different flowers, so the sage mind sees wisdom everywhere. People call it by different names according to their understanding, but it's one and the same universal, abstract, invisible spirit. Sometimes the yogic knowledge is linked to Vedanta, the Vedas, the oldest teachings that we have from the Indian tradition, from the root word ved, which means to know, and anta, which means the infinite or the end. So studying the Vedanta is the end of knowledge. There's nothing more to learn if you experience the spirit, since the spirit is everything. You could also say that yoga teaches you the double-edged sword of abhyasa and vairagya, as mentioned in the Yoga Sutras, that your first commitment is to practicing, taking on some spiritual discipline, and sustaining in your life what is good as a result of that practice. And then vairagya is also the dispassion and the letting go, the non-attachment and the abstaining from what is slowing you down or retarding your growth or sabotaging your growth. These are the two wings of the yoga bird. And when you practice yoga, according to Mr. Iyengar, you are going to experience the consummation of all human faculties, which sometimes he describes it as yoga as an art form, yoga as a science, yoga as a philosophy, and then, of course, ultimately, yoga as a lifestyle which you embody. So first, the aesthetics of yoga, homo aestheticus, that the human being is there to beautify their environment, both internally and externally. And so the art form is the skill of presentation, certainly first in the asanas, the beauty of a well-done posture, and it's a result of your practice, your knowledge, and your ability to display it, but not in a kind of arrogant, exhibitionistic way, just from the pure love, dedication, and devotion that you have to the art form of yoga. And of course, your whole life is supposed to be an art form, not just the way you practice the asanas, but the words that you choose to share with other people and the cultivation of the depth of motion that human beings potentially are capable of. Now, it's also a science. Yoga is a systematized body of knowledge. It has its own lab, its own procedures. The only difference is that you're not only the observer studying the phenomena, you are the data as well. So you study the facts of the experience through experimentation. You try it this way, you try it that way, and you learn from experience what is forward-leading and what is not. So this is the science of religion as well. It's not that yoga itself is a religion, but because it teaches you virtuous actions and you end up working on being a moral human being, those virtuous qualities are religious qualities, but it's not systematized and organized in any way. They're just suggestions that you have to experience yourself. Sometimes it's things as a religion because of its moral code and also of the devotion to the teacher and the guru. But they serve a higher purpose, never to just glorify the personality of the teacher, but to use the teacher as a transparency through which you see to something that's transcendent. And of course, that's what bases the philosophy of yoga, the rational investigation and the critical study of the laws of life, the principles of being itself, and the application of that, of course. And of course, yoga becomes the way that you develop skill in action. Yoga karmasu kasalam. Yoga is skill in action. Everything you do is to take on a form that is both artistic, scientific, philosophic, and then ultimately mystic. So if you learn yoga well, it will be like a nourishing food that you may not be able to explain to other people. As Jesus once said, I have meat ye know not of. And he's obviously not talking about the food. He's talking about spiritual sustenance. So I hope that you understand from the old Upanishadic teachings, Shreyas and Preyas, what is the pleasant from what is the real good, and how you live so that you don't disturb the order of things, and in fact find your way to flow in life, because you become an expression of the inner being of spirit, which is the most wholesome and nourishing food that there is.